everyone. Welcome to Ignite After Dark. Hopefully, you are having a good week so far. I can't believe we are already in the middle of January. Where is this month going? I feel like Christmas was just yesterday. But anyways, I'm so glad that you guys are on here. I'm super excited uh, to be able to share with you guys a little bit about our business and hopefully getting a strong start to 2026. So just to share a little bit about myself, my name is Daniel Young, and I am the team leader over at Keller Williams Urban and also our Midtown office. I've been in real estate for 10 years. I've been on the leadership team for the Dallas Preston Road office of 600 agents for, I guess, 4 years now. I just got KWU certified last year. And really, my heart is to teach Quantum Leap. I actually just taught it yesterday. It's about discovering your life purpose and life mission. That is my jam. That is what I absolutely love to do. So anyways, that's just a small introduction for myself. If you guys don't mind, just drop in the chat. Let me know what city you're dialing in from and how long have you been in the industry. Would love to get a feel for where everyone's coming from. All right, we got Arizona, Colorado, Dallas, Frisco. I live in Frisco. Very nice. Nice to meet you, Natalie. 6 years just started, 4 years. Ooh, we got some people who've been in the business for a little bit. Okay, that's good. 10 years. So you guys are my like starting at the same time as I did. Just starting. Okay. Very nice. Part-time, that's good. I actually did dual career for 2 years, and so it's very, very doable. It's always a little scary, right? Who else had that moment of fear when you said, "I got to cut my full-time job off so I could go to real estate full-time"? That is not the easiest decision to make, but it's part of our journey, and absolutely, it's. But if you guys want to chat about that at some point, you can always DM me, and we can have a separate conversation about that. All right, well, welcome, welcome. We got a good mixture of people that are new, and we got some veterans in the house too. And definitely all over the place: California, Nashville, Sacramento, Arizona, Illinois. I mean, we are all over the place. So that's the beauty of this, and I love that we can come from different places and to share. So, anyways, tonight we're going to talk about lead generation. Um, it's the most important part, right, of our business. And we've got several different sections within the Ignite course. The first one was the real estate expert of choice. So we want to understand, and in this world with AI, we've got to be able to niche and have our personal branding. We actually had a conference last week. A guy named Rory Vaden. He's New York bestseller, and I love what he says. He goes, "What makes you different can't be the same as everyone else, right?" And especially in a world of AI, right? So AI is changing the way that people do their search, and they're going to try and recommend you and say all these pros and cons instead of having the regular Google links. And so if you don't have any content out there, AI doesn't know what to do, right? To pull it in and to say, who are you, right? Who is Felicia? Who is Robin? Right? Who's Deborah? Like it doesn't know. So you got to create more content, and that's part of it is developing that personal brand. But that is another class for another day. We're doing lead generation today. Then there's also section and ignite lead follow-up, which is the most important thing to do. And then also talking about our transactions. So tonight, we'll see how we go. We can take a short break. I don't think I'm going to hit the full 2 hours, so hopefully we can get out a little bit earlier. And if we're just trucking along real quickly, then we'll just go straight through it. Anyways, so the course objectives really just how do we generate? So here's the course objectives for tonight. We're going to look at one, how do we generate business from people we know? Secondly, identifying your sphere and then calculating the potential income opportunity that's there. And then number three is categorizing your sphere and then how do we expand our reach? And then what are some best practices of lead generation? So that's kind of how how we're going to roll in a nutshell. I love the quote the very first page by Gary Keller, and it says, "My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating." My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. Can anyone resonate with that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just start off with this and take yourselves off mute. What are your thoughts about this statement? What is holding you back from lead generating?
Rejection?
Rejection? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if they don't like me? Right? Yeah, absolutely. What else?
Time.
Time? Yeah. So busy, right? I'm dual career. I got family, I got kids. I have time for lead generation. Yeah. What else?
Not knowing what to say or how to say it.
That is a very, very good one. I'll chat about that one in a little bit because my coach called me out on it, and that is a one of the key ingredients to uh, uh, doing lead generation and being successful at it. What to say? Maybe one more.
Okay, following up on cold calls.
Following up on cold calls. Yes. So yeah, how do I follow up? You know, they say, and this will be in the open house class. Actually, I think I'm teaching that one next week. Uh, but I'll go ahead and give you a little snippet. They say on average for open houses, the average agent follows up twice, 2 to 3 times. And that's it. And the magic happens at the seventh or eighth touch. I don't know why we stop at two, but that means we're not consistent in our follow up and thorough enough to burn the business. But here's the question, right? Right? Why is there fear? What is holding us back? How do we handle the objections that actually are in our mind? So that's what we're going to really hone in on as we get into it tonight's class a little bit further. But really, lead generation, right? It's the key to our success. We often say that, so a lot of I hear a lot of agents say, if I can just be successful in writing contracts and opening doors, then I'm good to go. Right. And that's a very transactional way of looking at our business. But what separates an average agent from a successful agent is the ability to go find business. It's the ability to lead generate. If you think about a restaurant, I could have the best food in town, the coolest, hippest vibe, and the best prices. And if no one knew about the restaurant, I'm out of business, right? And the same is true with us. We could offer the greatest service. We could absolutely just knock it out the park. And if no one knows that we are in the business of real estate, we're out of business. So the key to our success is really just telling people about real estate. It's capturing their information. I got to have contact information, otherwise I can't follow up with them. And then converting them to an appointment. So the key competencies of our business is actually on page 5.3. You see this little diagram here. And it begins with, again, lead generation, capturing, converting to appointments, right? And then we have to be able to get agreements, especially after the NAR settlement. Got to have those agreements in place and have those conversations. Then we're talking about showing our buyers and marketing to sellers. Then we got to negotiate contracts, manage the transaction all the way to the end. And the interesting thing is the last one is managing finances. We got to be profitable. We got to lead with revenue. We got to play red light, green light with our expenses. Especially with AI, right? Like, I mean, I'm like going, oh my gosh, there's like so many new apps coming out and everyone's asking me for 20 bucks. Like, which ones do I subscribe to? And am I going to subscribe to a whole new 10 apps out there, right? Actually, I'm moving some of my budget over to AI. So I'm canceling my BombBomb, my email campaign account. I'm canceling some others so I can allocate some money. But I got to play red light, green light with my finances, right? So here's the myths, some of the myths, right? And it's stuff that we've already talked about. So on page 5.3, the first one is I think lead generation is really difficult. So these are actually objections, but not objections from like a client. These are our own objections in our own heads that we say to ourselves of why we shouldn't lead generate. And so, how do we handle these objections and these limiting beliefs around these myths? So, the first one, I think lead generation is really difficult. Well, here's the reality, right? Lead generation requires effort, but it can be simple if we build the right system, right? It requires effort, and yet it can be simple. How about this? The one we heard earlier. I don't have time to lead generate. Guess what? Man, we're busy. We all are busy. And here's the reality. It's not that we don't have time. It's just that it's not a priority. Ouch, that one hurts. Like if you can imagine, right? We go to the office and there we are, we're getting ready to lead generate. And we're like, man, I'm so busy. And the first thing I do is I open up my email and I've got like 10, 15, 20 emails I gotta answer, which again, I don't have to necessarily answer them right at that moment because I am supposed to be lead generating the first thing in the morning, but I go ahead and answer them, right? Because it feels urgent, right? They're asking for information. I got to get this stuff out. So I go ahead and answer all those emails. And then, Bob walks on by. Hey, Bob, what's going on? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lee, how's your day going? And we kind of chat. Then I'm like going, man, I'm getting kind of thirsty. I need some more coffee, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm a coffee drinker. Like if you poke my skin, I think I bleed coffee. Anyway, so then I go get some coffee and then I meet Sarah over there and then we have some more chats and we could talk about our conversations, talk about the contracts that I'm working on. Oh my gosh, it is. We're having a great conversation. We're masterminding right there. Then I get back to my table and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 11 o'clock. I'm kind of hungry already. So maybe we got to go out for lunch. You guys ever feel that way? And we say we're busy and we are busy. We're busy and we're not doing our number one job of lead generation. So here's the question, right? There is always time if it's a priority for us. We will make time. And so that's an objection that we have. That's a myth. And the question is it our priority? The next one, I don't know what to say. I love this one because the reality is what to say can be learned. Right. I don't know what to say. I'm not sure what to say, so therefore I'm not going to make the calls. That is something that we can say, well, guess what? I can learn it. So here's one of the tips that I have. So coming back to where I was talking about earlier, I was saying, oh my gosh, I'm not making my calls. My coach called me out on it. He goes, hey, Daniel, you've committed to 100 calls and contacts a week, and I wasn't hitting my numbers. Well, then one time on my coaching call, I was really, really proud of myself. I made 150 calls within like a 24, 48-hour time frame. Right? If you guys are familiar with bold, I probably did a bold 100. And so on my coaching call, I was like, oh man, he's gonna be so excited. He's gonna pump me up. I mean, he's gonna pat me on the back. So I told him that. And coaches, they don't do that, right? So So what instead of being real proud of me, like making those contacts, he goes, "So what I'm hearing you say, Daniel, is you can make 100 contacts." And I was like, "Oh, man, like why do coaches have to do that?" And he goes, "Well, what was different about this time that you were able to make those calls?" And I said, "Well, what was going on was we had a hailstorm in Dallas. And so I was just calling everyone to say, hey, is your house okay? Is your roof okay? And do you need a roofing referral?" How many of you can make that call all day long, right? So the question is absolutely, if I know what to say and it's the right platform and it's of value, we can make those calls all day long. But when we're not sure what we're going to say and we just pick up the phone and we just start dialing, guess what? It's going to be a little bit awkward because I'm a little bit uncertain and they can feel it. And so that's why I don't make those calls because I'm like, I get nervous. And then if the conversation is a little bit awkward, then it just kind of piles on top of each other. And then I'm like, oh, I'm out. Right. It's kind of like those cold calls you make, right? Guess what? I'm not a cold caller. If you guys love cold calling, more power to you. But like I'm the one where like if I dial it and they don't pick up, I'm like, yes. Thank you, God. They didn't pick up. It's kind of like, and guess what? If I'm got that attitude towards my lead generation and it's such a negative experience, guess what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to lead generate. So we've got to do something that gives us energy. We got to do something that we resonate with. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be a few conversations that are a little bit awkward that we just got to press through. But for the most part, right? We got to find a conversation, what to say that we resonate with, that's authentically us, that we jive with, that is our vibe, and then we can make those calls all day. I'm afraid of making mistakes. That's the fourth one. And guess what? Yeah, we could make mistakes, but guess what? Mistakes are common, and this is how we handle objection, and yet it should not stop us from pressing on. Right? Mistakes happen. We fumble, and yet it's part of our job. We got to keep pressing on. Right? We learn from our mistakes. We fail forward. The only way we're going to get better is actually leaning into it and practicing it. Now, here's the thing. We have something which we call conversation practice, where Robin and I, we might say, hey, I need to practice on setting an appointment. Great. Let's talk about it. Let's do it in the office. Because guess what? If I'm not practicing on it with another agent, guess what I'm doing? I'm practicing it on my clients or practicing it on my leads. And we don't want to practice on them. We want to be ready to go. So practice it. Practice it in your office. Mess up with other agents because it's what it really doesn't matter. So have those conversation practices, learn it. Mistakes, guess what? It will happen and you just keep pressing on. All right. So if you look at what's on the next page, your sphere of influence, page 5.4. So this is where we really start. There's lots of different places we could start in terms of lead generation, but the reality is the best place to start is going to be the people that we know. Partly because people use who they know, like, and trust, so it's going to be warm. It just needs to be cultivated. So our sphere of influence really is the group of people that we know, right? And it starts with people that are in our social media, people that are in our phone. And here's the thing. I actually reframe it a little bit because I'm the type, and if you're wired like me, I don't want to be salesy. I don't like cold calling, right? And I certainly don't like it when people cold call me. So that's not my lane. I'm much more relational. So even when it comes to a term like lead generation, it can give you a little bit of a negative context in your mind. So I prefer to call it like instead of calling it leads, guess what it is? It's relationships. So call it relationships. And then instead of generation, I'm not generating leads. I'm going to be doing building. So I'm in the business of building relationships. Okay. So if you start framing it that way, then the relationship and the connection becomes much more positive, and it's less likely that I'm going to sound salesy because I'm not thinking lead generation first in my mind. So think of it in that way. So here's the income opportunity. So what's funny is us as realtors, we tend to be squirrels, and then every shiny new object that comes our way that we're like, ooh, that sounds good. I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do this, right? And we're all over the place. And the reality is, for most people, they have probably three sources of their lead generation, right? Three sources. And the number one source should be your database. And at first I was like, yeah, but my database isn't, people aren't ready. People aren't ready to buy and sell. They're just waiting. So I've got to do open houses. I've got to do social media. I've got to do farming. So I keep adding to it. But here's the interesting thing. This next section, what it's intended to do is ask the question, how much business can I truly make if I just focus on my database? So here's a question for you guys. How many contacts do you guys have in your phone? Drop it in the chat. How many contacts do you guys have in your phone? And if you don't know how to do it, this is for an iPhone. You just go to contacts, open up your contacts, and on the left-hand side, it says all lists. Click on that. And then once you click on the list, then there's a number there which says all contacts. That includes your Gmail. That includes everything else. I've got 4,800. Now, a lot of those are probably not legitimate leads or people. Vast majority is out of state. Okay, well, guess what? You can get a referral. Build relationships with all your people. Let's say you're brand new in your city. Build relationships with people where you're originally from, and then connect them with those agents because you can get a referral fee. All right. So 50, 567, 1,600. Man, we got some good numbers there. But mine are almost okay. So there's a couple things here, right? So some of you, yes, if it's out of state, it's a little bit harder, but you can still build referrals out of it. But you also have to say, okay, well, how do I build new relationships? And then if you're young, we get a lot of young realtors, right? Like if you're 25 and under, you're gonna have a little bit more of what's the word I'm looking for? You got to build a bit of steeper climb to start working on because your natural database isn't ready to buy or sell. And what's becoming harder is the age of the first-time home buyer is actually increasing, right? I think the number now is 38. So if you're thinking about
40,
relationships, is that correct? Is that what you guys are hearing?
40.
40? Yep. Okay. So, if you're young and you're building relationships and say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to build relationships with people that are 27, 28 years old. You may have to push that number up, right? And see how you can build those relationships. But here's the thing. Let's just start off with this, right? How many people do you think you need in your database to have a successful business? Let's go ahead and drop those numbers in. What do you think? At least 200? 201. Someone's in the KW system, 201. 500, yeah. I don't know if you guys been sometimes like if you're in conversations with people at mega camp or family reunion, you're like, how many people do you have in your database? And they go, 10,000. At first, when I was a brand new agent, I was like, oh my gosh, like I better better get cranking. Like I'm so like behind, right? And guess what? I don't have the energy to follow up with 10,000 people. Like I have zero desire to try and do that. So here's the exercise, right? The first number, number of contacts in your phone, put that number in, or for me, the number I'm using is 300 because that's how many I have in command in my database. And that's how many I say that are my A's and B's, which are people that know me, that I think I've got a good relationship with. I just said that's going to be my core. Everyone else is kind of extra. Like I still could add them to the number. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm using 300. But whatever number you're comfortable with, just if it's the number of people in your phone, if it's the number of just people that you say, hey, these are my good friends, throw that number in. Now, letter B says potential closing opportunity from contacts. So you take that number and you multiply it by 0.081. Seems like a kind of random number, but if you look at the asterisk part, it says that the average person moves every 8 years. I think that number might be a little bit higher now, but it's probably like 9 or 10. But for argument's sake, we'll just say it's like 8 to 10 years. And then on top of that, the home ownership rate is at 64.8%. So how they come up with that number is the 0.081 is it's a combination and it says about 8% of your database will buy or sell every 8 years. So the potential closing opportunities, just take your number and multiply it by the 0.081. Now, not everyone in your database is, all your business is not just from people that are ready to buy and sell. You also are going to have referrals. So your neighbor might say, "Guess what? I just moved here. I don't need to buy." But guess what? My cousin is moving to the city and he's looking for a realtor. So there's potential referrals in your database. And the number that Gary Keller says is you should be getting about 10% of your people in your database to give you a referral a year. So what you do is take that same number in letter A and multiply that number by zero point 0.1 and put the number there in the right hand side. So letter D is adding those two together. B plus C. That's the total business that you have potentially in your database. So for me, my number was 300. 300 times 0.081. So I get 24 units closings from people that I personally know. And then the referrals out of that is 30. So my total potential business is 54 units. Now, I don't know what your typical commission is. A good number, if you don't have any idea, is just go ahead and use like $12,000. But if you, and again, we got to say it, all commissions are negotiable. So just if you want, you can take an average commission rate of 0.275% and then multiply it by maybe the average price point in your city. So for Dallas, it's probably going to be 460. So my commission will be a little bit higher, but for this purpose of this exercise, I'm going to use 12,000. Now I want you guys to take that number, right? And then multiply that by the number of units and drop in the chat. What is that income opportunity that you're getting? And this is mine. You guys able to follow along? All right, we're gonna drop the Google Drive again for the workbook and the guide. So you guys can grab that, and we're on page 5.4. Anyone else get a number? So Lori, you put in 324. You think you could live off of 324,000? Look at Sandy. You're almost a millionaire real estate agent. Happily, yes. Right? For me, 54 units. More than happy to do that, right? And the point of this exercise is one, is to say there is enough business in our database. Secondly, the one that really stretches me and causes a little bit of tension is the gap between my actual business and what is my potential business, right? That one hurts. That one hurts when I say I'm leaving, wait, how much on the table? So the question for us again is saying, why are we chasing all these other things? You could be saying, I'm going to go out and buy leads, which we actually don't recommend if you're a brand new agent. We say lead with revenue. You could be going out and farming. You could be going out and doing all these things, and we end up neglecting our database, our number one source of business, right? So again, just think about the potential. And if that is our potential, then we need to be spending most of our time on our database. It's the 80/20 principle, right? 80% of my time, if I don't have all these other lanes and I'm just starting out my business, 80% of my time should be focused on my database. Now, again, I pre-qualify it. If you are young, then you got to go build a database. And that will come in our other classes of open houses and everything like that. But guess what? Those eventually become part of your database. And then you get referrals out of that. Or if you're new to a city, right? Now you got to go build it. Any ahas? What are your thoughts on that exercise? Yeah, the gap is an ouch. Yep. Yeah. So just if you guys didn't get a chance to do that exercise, just kind of work on it. Think about it. You know, I love what Shanita said, right? Ready to lean into my database. Absolutely. So let's move on to the next page, 5.5. So this is the lead generation and the database model. So at the very top, it talks about this idea of capturing leads, right? And in essence, it's just like, where do I get contacts, right? And so some of you, I noticed that, the number of people in your contacts were a little low. So if you put like 50, you're going to have to grow your database. You're going to need more people. I'm not saying you can't do it with 50. So actually, I just taught a class yesterday, and one of the KWOG people, Althea Osborne, she actually, instead of having 10,000 contacts, her database was 25. And what she did end up doing was she got each person to give her 5 referrals a year. 5 times 25 was 100 contacts, 100 referrals. And because they were personal referrals, she converted them at a 90% rate. She was doing 90 units a year off of 25 people. Could you live off of 90 units? Yeah. Now she's an exception, right? That's probably not the norm. So you do need more people in your database. And the KW model, he says we got to shoot for at least 200. That's the goal. So if you're a little bit low, then you're gonna start having, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. Where do I go find the people? But let's just start here, right? Where do we even, if you're new, right? You got to go to your phone, right? Go to your spouse's phone. Go to your parents' phone, and then do the same thing with your emails. So like, I don't know how many emails you've had over the years, I've probably had about, well, currently I have like six or seven emails. But like, dig up your old email addresses, see if the login still works, and pull them all up and grab all of those contacts. Go check on Facebook and Instagram. How many friends and followers do you have there? Did you know in Facebook you can actually download the contacts? Now you can't get their personal information, but you can at least download the contacts and say, okay, they are a person that maybe I still need to get their phone number or their email. But do you know that you really don't even need their email or phone number? Because you just use Messenger to reach out to them. I've built a good portion of my business just on Messenger. And I stay in touch with them. And probably a couple of years later, they go, hey, yeah, you know what? Uh, we're thinking about moving or whatever like that. Okay, great. What's a good phone number for you that we can chat? And I get it then, right? I've built relationships off of Messenger. And we'll talk about that. I think that's part of my social media thing next week. So we'll talk about it then. Your kids, natural relationships. So again, if you don't have to create relationships from scratch, that's even better. So if your kids are on a soccer team, I don't know about you guys, but here in Dallas, when your kids are in club soccer, you spend a lot of time on the soccer field. And guess what? Parents aren't doing anything. They're watching their kids go nurture those relationships. Now you don't have to be salesy. I do wear my KW swag, right? And then eventually real estate comes up. But look at where your natural relationships are. Maybe it's your church. Maybe it is your neighborhood. If you got an HOA and it's very active, go to all so tell your spouse, hey, I need to go to the I need to go to the neighborhood parties more. They're like, you realtors don't really work. But that's what we do, right? It's relationship building, right? So that's the top part is lead capture, right? And then you got to put them into your database. Now there's a difference, right? You see in the database part, it separates two different sections. One is called leads, and then the other one's contacts. And so the difference between those two, leads is people that I have a one-way relationship with, right? It's a one, I'm sorry, not one-way relationship. Like I'm literally, it's just one-way contact. So it might be an open house lead, and we've all been there before. Like they just ghost us for a while, and so it's just a one-way conversation. I remember one time on an open house lead, I literally texted them and called them for like 9 months. Nothing came back to me. And then right after they go, okay, Dane, we're ready to go. I'm like, couldn't you have like at least responded to me, say, hey, yeah, we're still alive, we're doing okay, you know? But yeah, it's kind of weird, but that's how it rolls sometimes. So lead is really like one-way conversation, but the moment it turns to two-way conversation, then I would change that to a contact, right? And our goal is to strengthen those relationships, and then we try to convert them. So, if you turn the page over, there is something called prospecting and marketing. Now, sometimes we may think in our business like, hey, I can just market myself, right? Let me run a Facebook ad. Let me do whatever advertising, Google ads, whatever it is, right? That's all marketing. Now, marketing is okay. Now, if you're new to the business, we say don't lead with marketing because A, it's expensive and the return is pretty low. So you want to do what we call prospecting, which means I'm taking the initiative. That's actually picking up the phone and calling people. It's open houses. It's me establishing the relationship. It's being proactive. And so you want to let that be your foundation. And so in the MREA book, it says you want to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. You want to add and let the marketing be a supplement, but not the foundation. I would probably even say for paid leads, like let's say if you really do just say, hey, I want to do paid leads. And it's not that it's a no, but I think it should be, and this is my personal opinion, that it should be a secondary source, not your primary source of business. And so, like, let's say, like right now, we just had a big team that just ended up deciding not to do Zillow anymore. And guess what? If their entire business was built on Zillow, and when Zillow changes those algorithms and changes just the payment structure, you're out of business. So you never want to be so dependent on them that if they change something, you're not in control of your lead source, you're not in control of your business, then you're in trouble when they make those changes. So what that's my this is my philosophy is build a solid foundation on your database on things that you can control. If you choose to add that as a second source of leads, then that's up to you. You can certainly do that. It's kind of more supplemental than primary, if that makes sense.
On marketing.
So so database is really what we call your data bank, right? These are where you have intentional conversations, you're in relationship with your database, right? So if I pull up your conversations with your sphere, right? The conversation is the relationship. So if I look at it and I scroll through all your texts, I say, okay, what kind of relationship do you have? If it's just basically, hey, how's it going? Good. Yay, I made a contact. Let me add one of those to my bold contacts. Like, that's not what we're talking about. Actually, I don't like the word contact. We always say, hey, how many contacts do you have to make a week? Make 50 contacts. Guess what? We have people that they're just literally handing out business cards in the mall and saying, hey, I made a contact. Like to me, that's not a good contact. I think the better word that we should be using is how many connections did you make? I like that word better because it forces me to say, did I connect with that person? Did I take that relationship deeper? Now, if it's the first time I'm meeting them, literally at an open house, okay, that might just be a contact, and that's okay, right? But guess what? My second call should be the goal is not just another contact, but it is to connect. And so any kind of connection could be a call, could be an email, could be a text, could be face to face, it could be a handwritten note, right? Anything that again moves that relationship closer to you. Any questions about that? All right, let's move on to page 5.9. We are just going to truck on, so I'm just going to keep going, if that's okay with you guys, because it's 9 o'clock and here in Dallas. I said if I finish at 10, sometimes I have a hard time to go back to sleep. It's kind of late for me. But anyways, your sphere of influence. So where do you get people to contact you? Right here, it gives you an incredible list. Your family, your friends, relatives, neighbors, past coworkers, hobby sports groups, teachers, worship club, volunteers, professional services. I mean, there's just a whole slew of people that you can contact. In Bold, one of the things we do is we literally take the alphabet and we say, name one profession with each of those letters. So A would be maybe your accountant. B would
No,
be,
José
I don't
vino, quiere jugar un poco.
know. B would be someone else, right? C would be someone else, and just name those industries. D would be a dentist or a doctor, right? And then as you come up with those industries and those names, then you say, okay, who do I know that's in that industry? And then that becomes part of your contact list, right? So again, if you just need ideas, where can I get these ideas in terms of building my sphere, building my database? Now you also got to categorize people. So those you've experienced, you probably already do this, right? But I just use A, B, C, D. A is people that are my champions. They're going to refer me business or they're going to use me. B would be people that know me. We're acquaintances. We would recognize each other in a grocery store, but we're probably not that close to where they would say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to send all my business to them and I'm going to champion his business, right? C would be people that I've met, but I probably wouldn't recognize them in a grocery store. This would be like your open house leads. And then D for me would be people that I have not met, but I want to meet. So it could be people in your farm, in your neighborhood. I haven't met everyone in my neighborhood, but I want to meet them. But I can get all their names from the tax rolls, right? And then the second tag I would say is if they've raised their hands and they said, "Hey, Daniel, we think we're ready to buy," then I would put hot lead 0 to 3 months, a warm lead 3 to 12 months, and then cold lead over 12 months, right? Then you categorize it because these are the people that you need to stay in touch with even more. So once they raise their hands, you better have them on on some sort of system and plan and to follow up a separate list somewhere where you're saying, "Hey, I really got to stay in touch with these people." So let me give you an example, right, of a vendor conversation that you had. So earlier we asked the question, well, guess what? I don't know what to say, and therefore I'm struggling to make those calls. So I'm going to share my screen here for just a second, and I'm going to introduce you to one of my friends. Let's see here. All right. You guys see this? So this is one of my friends. Her name is Lydia, and she is with Goosehead. She actually helps sponsor and helps me with the with this class and materials and things like that. Um, but she works for Goosehead Insurance, right? And if you want her contact information, it's lydia.wagner@goosehead.com. And her phone number is 214-838-5601. Her email has that dot in the middle, so it's lydia.wagner. And what I love about it is she's a broker for insurance for homes, that she has access to 50 A plus 50 over 50 A plus carriers to compare costs and coverages. So she's amazing. Give her a shout. She can work nationwide, or Goosehead can work nationwide. Um, but that's her contact information. So here's the call. And I don't know about which where in your states. This is true for Texas and probably true for a few other states. But our insurance costs are going through the roof. We actually have carriers that are leaving the state. So here's an easy call to make. Ring, ring. Hey, Mrs. Homeowner. Hey, this is Daniel. I'm with Keller Williams Realty. And guess what? Actually, I wouldn't say guess what, but hey, I'm calling everyone because I know that insurance costs have been going through the roof for everyone. And my heart is that, I'm concerned because our monthly payments are going higher, and sometimes even coverages have been actually, you know, decreasing. So whether or not people realize it, they're covering less, or in the event that people are trying to save money, they actually aren't getting enough coverage on their homes. So I met this amazing insurance broker. Her name is Lydia, and she's able to shop your home insurance with 50 plus uh, A type insurance carriers. Would it be okay if I connect the two of you and maybe she could just see if she could save you any money? Could you make that call all day long? Yeah. And guess what I just did? I just introduced myself as Daniel with Keller Williams, so now they know I'm in real estate. And secondly, I'm here to serve them. I'm here to help them out, not asking them for business, but I'm here to help them with their home, managing their home. And that's actually one of the things for us as agents we got to get better at, because people are staying in their homes longer and longer. If the only time that I try to reach out to people is because of a transaction, guess what? Now it seems salesy. But if I can add value to them in between the time that they are looking to just to stay in their home and add value, then when they are ready to buy or sell, they're going to think of me. I'm just reading some last these chats. Yes, actually, I do not wear my swag at church. This is to Deborah. That's the one place I don't wear my swag. I mean, I may accidentally. I'll wear it to my small group, but I won't wear it to church services. So that's just me. You do you. You do what works for you. But anyways, coming back to Lydia, right? So think about that. She's one opportunity for you to make a call. Now, here's another one you can do. Let's say you don't have any vendor contacts, and this is for the brand new agents. Actually, it could be for seasoned agents too. Hey, this is Daniel Young. I'll phrase it with as a new agent. I'm new into real estate and I need your help. Do people want to help you? All day long. Hey, who do you know that you would give a 5-star review for contractors? Because I'm new in real estate. I need to build my business. So I need plumbers, AC guys, but I need them to be a 5-star. Who do you know? And then after that, you would say, okay, would you like me to send this list when I'm done? Yes? Okay, what's a good email for you so I can send that list to you? Could you make that call all day long? Right? These are easy calls. And again, it's all about the platform. So that's the key to lead generation is finding the right platform, finding the right thing that resonates with you that doesn't feel like it's salesy. I'm coming from contribution. I'm letting them know I'm in real estate. And then in turn, I bring them something of value. Okay, the last one, Ruby, was, hey, I'm new in real estate and I need your help. That need your help is important because people want to help you. Who do you know that is a contractor or maybe, I mean, it could be anyone, right? Tax accountant, anything like that. Who do you know that you would give a 5-star review? Because I need to start building my vendor list for referrals. So again, those are just 2 easy calls. One is your insurance contact or insurance broker. Hey, would you mind if I connect you so you could see if you could save some money? And then the second one is the contractor one, the vendor list, right? And that's how you build your SOI. And then, hey, if you on the insurance one, here's how we actually expand our database. If they say yes, I would be great. I would love a quote on my to insurance. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll connect you guys. And one more question. Do you know anyone else that would benefit from getting a quote like this? Guess what I've just done? I've expanded my database. If they say, yeah, you know what? My neighbor needs it. Here, let me get you their contact information. Great. Could you connect us via text? So it's a warm referral? Sure. Right? We're always looking to grow our network. We're growing our relationships, but it's coming from a harder service, right? I'm still not looking to ask them for a buy or sell. I'm just looking for a connection that I can build a relationship with. Because here's the thing. At first, I'm like going, I don't want to do I want all my relationships to be built around business? You can. And here's the thing. If you are a top agent, right? And just the fact that you guys are on this call means that you're taking a step above and beyond to grow your business, to grow yourself, which makes you an excellent agent, right? You guys are learning based. And so here's the thing. We don't want people to get stuck with a bad agent. And so your heart of service, your heart coming from a posture to serve is I know that I can serve others to the best of my ability. I don't want them to get stuck with a bad agent. I want them to get the best service out there. So guess what? You're actually helping them out. So we got to overcome some of our limiting beliefs around that. We're consultants, we're real estate experts. And this is what we do. We're here to serve others. And when we serve others and come from that heart, the business will come. You experienced agents that have 10 plus years or anything, any kind. Any other thoughts on this?
You know, I learned something amazing tonight, and I'm gonna use it tomorrow. Um, I am looking for a construction company. I do a lot of renovations with my clients.
Mhm.
And then so I'm frustrated with the 2 companies and I'm looking for one. So you give me an idea that I'm gonna call and at all my databases, hey, do you know anybody, a new construction company? I lost my construction company and I'm looking for one and so on. That's gonna be my way to see to get in touch with the clients, with my past clients, and to see, to generate leads from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and we know we need a bench, right? This is the hardest part, right? I think some of my vendor contacts, I'm only got one deep. I got a really good GC. I don't have a second one. So, hey, we're always looking to build it, right? Natalia had a great question, right? What if they're on the do not call list? So on this initial call, the two that I'm recommending, you're calling people that you know. So I'm not worried about the do not call list. And then secondly, if I'm asking my friend, hey, who do you know? Can you connect this via text? Well, they've just made a warm referral. I'm not worried about the DNC. Now, if it's a cold call, absolutely. You gotta, they are, I don't know about your conversations you're having in your brokerage, but we are very serious about it in ours. We are getting, it is gonna become a very tough thing, and the requirements are getting really, really strict. So we definitely have to pay attention to that. So check with your broker on that one when it's talking about open house leads, or even like for those of you who have been in the industry a little bit, all my past open house leads, if I've emailed them in the past, we're supposed to get like them signed up again, like or come to some agreement. I'm still wrapping my brain around that one. Because I feel like I'm in relationship with them and I need permission again. Like it's coming down the pike where we got to pay attention to it, right? So just talk with your broker on that one. Uh, get some confirmations. But if it's people you know, right, I'm not worried about that. All right. Uh, so again, we want to be in relationship with them. And here's the thing, right? People move due to life change. So in our conversations with them, what are we looking for? Hey, yeah, Mr. Homeowner, how are things going with you and your family? Oh, it's great. Yeah. Well, what's going on in your life? Well, kids are growing up. They're going to start elementary school next year. Well, oh, really? Which school's that? How do you feel about that school? Well, you know what? We actually don't really like our school. Oh, well, what are you guys going to do about it? Well, we've been looking at, moving because we want them to get in a better school. Ding, 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 right? The moment they say they're not happy with their elementary school, your radar should be going up because people move due to life transition. So if they also tell you, "Oh yeah, I got a new job." Really? Where's it at? Oh, it's in downtown Dallas. Wow. Oh, you live in Frisco. That's kind of far. Yeah. Well, do you get to work from home? No, man. That sucks, man. They're going to tell me to come in every day. Ding, 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 ding. Right? Oh, well, what are you going to do about it? So when we're having conversations, right? The goal of the conversation is to understand what's going on in their life. And as we connect with them, know that the life transitions are what cause people to move. And that's what we're listening for. And then it just comes part of the natural flow of the conversation. It's much more organic, right? It's not the straight, hey, let me call. Hey, you know what? Will you take a business call? Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That's a little bit awkward if it's right off the bat. Now, if they are your champions, right? I do this probably once a year at the end of the year and it's a much smaller group, right? 25, 30, 40 people. These are like people I'm really comfortable with and say, hey, guess what? I'm working on my 2026 goals and I'm looking for families that need help in real estate. Who do you know? I don't ask them if they are ready to move and looking to buy, right? I'm asking them who do they know that might be moving to the area or that might need help. So again, lead generation, right? Best practices, 5.12. We want to track our lead sources. We want to know where it's coming from. We want to audit it. Are you doing open houses? Is that where it's coming from? Is it coming from social media? Is it coming from your database? Is it coming from a network group that you have? Is it coming from agent to agent referrals? Did you know that? You could actually, right here, if you guys wanted to build relationships with everyone on this Zoom call, you just say, hey, drop your contact information, drop your, what city you serve, and swap information, right? And say, hey, let's be referral partners. Let's see if we can help each other out in businesses, right? Also know your migration patterns for your city. So Dallas, everyone's moving to Dallas from California, from Chicago, from New Jersey. So if you guys are in those states, hit me up, right? But know your migration patterns and build relationships with other agents. And then that way you can cultivate. Now, here's the thing. I know I'm getting a little sidetracked, and I hope that's okay. Like I'm just throwing stuff out there, seeing while I'm thinking about it. But a lot of times when I'm talking to other agents, they end up just putting me on their email campaign for their clients. And I'm like, I don't care about the market stats in, whatever city they're in, and spring maintenance and all that stuff. Don't send me that stuff. Now, if you send me stuff on, hey, this is what we learned at our office on our morning huddle. My team leader just shared this lead generation tip with me. And you send that stuff over to me, now we're talking, right? Because that's the type of email that I want to. Everyone should be learning about AI. You guys learn about AI? If you guys get AI tips, send them my way because I'm teaching the AI classes in our market center. And so I need more information because there's so much stuff coming. I mean, there's new stuff coming out every single week. I can't keep up. So if you got a tip, I'm all ears, right? Just share it with me. Share what you're learning. Guess what? That's how we build relationships with other agents. And you don't have to create new content. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just like, hey, guess what? This is what I learned. It's a really cool tip. Personal branding, social media tip, any of those things, right? So just think about that. That's a possibility for you. That could be a lane for you if you're highly relational. And now that's a long game, right? That's something that your business is a year or 2 years out. So it shouldn't be your primary. Your primary should still be your database. But if you can get 3 or 4 extra deals out of agent to agent referrals, what would that do for your business? uh, Answer Ruby right here. And then if you guys want, I'm just dropping my contact information into the chat. If you guys have other questions about lead generation, about the class, um, you can always DM me and I'm more than happy to help you answer those questions. So, all right, we are getting close. Like I am zipping through this stuff. So I'm just gonna hit this last part up here. Let me see what else I got. Let's see where your leads are coming from. What are your lead sources? Yep. So the last one is time blocking. So again, when I said earlier, um, we're so busy, right? Well, it's just not a priority. Actually, one of the problems could be is my personal space, right? Is it conducive for my for making those calls, right? And the top agents, they actually set aside time to lead generate, creating consistency in their schedule, right? They'll prepare the list of who they need to contact the night before. Like it's not like, okay, it's lead gen hour and I'm gonna spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes figuring out who I'm gonna call. Like, no, it should be a solid amount of time. Now, here's another tip on lead generation and time blocking. Keller Williams says you need to time block 3 hours a day. If I'm in a room of 300 people, if we get 2 or 3 people that actually time block 3 hours a day, we're really lucky. Now, what I suggest is start small, right? Whatever routine you have in the morning, if you read Atomic Habits, it's this idea of habit stacking. So if you've got a morning huddle at your office and it goes from 8:30 to 8:45, time block 8:45 to 9:15 or 8:45 to 9:45, 1 hour of lead generation. Stack that habit with something else. And here's the thing, if there's anything that's urgent, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to write that contract. I got to respond to this offer. Can it wait 30 minutes? Yes. If it was 3 hours, I would feel very anxious and I feel like I have to respond. But if it's just 30 minutes to an hour, guess what? I think I can wait to respond to that email. I think I can wait to write that offer. I think I can wait to do whatever feels so urgent. I can wait 30 minutes to an hour. So I would say start the habit small and make, I guess, some consistency around it. And then it's going to be a lot easier. And once you get the habit going, then you're going to be able to get there. So, yeah, protect your time block, build a bunker, right? Store provisions. I'm really bad. I'm a snacker. So I go down to the pantry like every 30 minutes. And my wife, she's like looking at me and she goes, has anything changed in that pantry like in the last 10 minutes? I'm like, no. I keep opening it. So yeah, store snacks, right? Sweep for those minds that would distract you. If you're distracted by Facebook, like you could probably, I don't know, on your phones, right? Could you actually shut the app down for 30 minutes while you're making those calls? So what questions do you guys have? That's it, man. That's a wrap for me.
I have to give you a comment that you really, this class really energized me and give me an ideas. I have a house that I need to renovate, but I need to empty. So my client's attorney, he's busy working, and the people they hired, they didn't do a good job. There's still the furniture over there. I need to start a renovation. So he says, I'm gonna take off on Friday to see if I can move more some things to the garage so you can start renovation.
Mhm.
So I sent an email, and the email says, I can come and help you on Friday. And he says, okay, I'm gonna be there 8 o'clock. I says, I'll be there 9 o'clock. However, after this class, give me an idea. He's the attorney in that neighborhood. He lives in the neighborhood. He's a good friend of the HOA, Homeowners Association, which I know him. So, however, this idea gave me, I'm going tomorrow, that's Friday, I have to meet him. I'm going tomorrow to Walmart. I'm going to buy moving boxes, gloves, wrapping paper, marker, and I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to go and says, okay, let's do that. I'm going to take that because since he's very good friends from the HOA, but president of the HOA, he's gonna talk about me. They talk about the neighborhood. That's the neighborhood I farm.
Mhm.
So there's gonna be more generation over there. And I was not thinking to do any of that. But after you, this class, that's something that I will do, and I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I love it. Love it, right? I mean, you're going to build organic relationships and then the conversations will be very organic around everything. So, um, yeah, awesome.
Could you share your friend's contact information one more time, please?
Yeah. Hold on one second. And then let me see here. Any other thoughts while I'm pulling up this information?
That was going to be my question, so he already covered it.
Okay, awesome.
Hi, Daniel. This is Shanita.
Is
I have a question.
Mhm.
Hi. Okay, so you mentioned that most agents only follow up twice. I've done a few open houses and I find that I have no problem collecting the leads, but I have issues in conversion, my conversion rates. I'm trying to get those up. What would you recommend as far as like examples of follow-up from the open houses. I mean, I follow up, but I mean, you're mentioning 7 times. So how can I add value to those conversations and following up that many
Yeah,
times?
that's a great question, right? And so, um, you know, if I'm calling them, right, and all 7 times is like, all right, we should meet, we should meet, we should meet, right? Like, can I be a realtor, right? It's going to get old. And so we have to be able to give something of value to them. And I would say, it's going to be value, value, value. Then I'm asking them, let's meet. Now, the mistake I made, and we'll talk about this in the open house class, is uh, I asked too early if I could be their realtor, right? Like literally, if I'm thinking about it at an open house, I'm like a used car salesman to them, right? That's how they see me. And so I have to earn their trust at the very beginning. So if I say, hey, are you working with a realtor? That's too big of an ask at the open house. My first thing should be, okay, can I give them something, a freebie or something like that? So I actually never bring a foundation report to the open house. I say, hey, there's a foundation report. Would you like a copy of it? Sure. Okay, great. What's the best email for you that I can send this to you? So I kind of have something of value that they want, right? And if you don't have a foundation report, you can say, hey, I've got a list of the for Texas, we're a non-disclosure state on pricing, right? So I can say, hey, I've got the neighborhood's closed comps. Would you be interested in that? Great. What's a good email for you? So whatever that is, you have that item of value. That's this very small thing. You're giving them a freebie. I'm not asking them to meet with me. Then the second part is, hey, I sent you that email with that foundation report. I sent you that email with the comps. Um, did you have any questions about it? Right. And then what you're wanting to do then at that point in time is, hey, I think we should do a quick 15-minute Zoom call so that I can go over that report with you, so that I can go over those sales comps with you, so that I could go over whatever it is, right? You're trying to get a short call with them. And from there, you're looking to set an appointment to do a buyer consult. So it kind of keeps adding up in it. So that's kind of the sequence that you want. So you want to start with something that's super easy, no commitment, and then work towards earning their trust. And then after that, then you're saying, okay, well, what items of value can you have? You want to be able to create things that are, whether it's a template, a Canva image, or a short video, or something like that. You want these to be all in your toolbox so they're ready to grow. If I have to create it every single time, I ain't gonna do it. That's why I don't like doing market stats, because the market stats change, and so I want it to be ready to go and done. Outside of the comp report, right, for the neighborhood. So hypothetically, if they're moving from out of state, then you know what? A list of schools is perfect, right? So then I would call them and say, hey, would a list of the schools and the grades be a value for you? I've lived in the area for 10, 15 years. I know the schools. Actually, you know what? Would it be a good idea, or would we be able to just chat for 15 minutes via Zoom after the open house? And I can talk about the area. I can talk about the schools. I can talk about things. It's just a quick phone call because I've lived in the area and I know that you guys are coming in, right? So I'm trying to just get them a phone call. I'm not even asking them if I can be their realtor at that point in time. Hey, let me just bring something of value for you. And then the other thing you could do is like, okay, well, how about items of value be like, talk to your lender and say, hey, what are some things that I can get from you that would be of value, right? Those little graphics. Should I buy now or should I wait a year, right? What's the cost of it? Um, if I've got a house to sell and buy at the same time, the bridge loans, the buy before you sell programs, all those things, you could have a graphic and just send it out to them. But my encouragement, and this is going to be a challenge for a lot of us, because I know it's a challenge for our office as well, is if you can at least have one or two items that are videos, because the videos are going to be able to help you bring out your personality, right? Um, and they're just gonna, because part of the trust factor is the chemistry part. I cannot build chemistry through text and emails. So again, if you create these videos and they're ready to go, all you do is have to upload them to YouTube and just fire off the YouTube link, right? Um, so in a couple, I'll drop in a link of my YouTube channel. It's not super fancy, but it does have a few videos that you could use as an example.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Those are all really good ideas. As far as delivering the YouTube videos, you send that via text or email, or how are
Yeah,
you
I'll just text it. I just text
texting?
it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So there's my channel. If you look at the videos, it's like three things to consider in looking for a lender, how to pick a good realtor, three options. Just just see what I think the biggest thing is ask the question, what kind of problem are you trying to solve for the buyers that's relevant for your neighborhood, for your city, right? And then just go ahead and answer those. It doesn't even have to be long. Like, don't worry about I think we get so worried about the video looking really, really good. Like, if you're worried about it looking really good, do the video in your car. People, the sound is gonna be great, right? You got no other sound outside. Lighting is gonna be great. You got all these windows. And third, when you're doing it from your car, the expectation of the person that's watching it means that they don't expect it to be perfect. The higher quality your background is, the higher the expectation that it has to be done well. But in a generation of AI, where so much of it is produced and kind of fake, people are looking for authenticity. So don't worry about the actually the way we combat AI is to be human, right? So just record it in your car, throw it out on YouTube, send it to them. And then that way, look, it's who you are, it's authentic to yourself. You're going to be more comfortable in your car, and it's just going to sound like you. And just answer a question that you think the buyers are looking for an answer on. And just do it, get it done, and then you can always perfect it as you go along and create more videos. Um, but just have a toolbox of like 5 or 6 videos that are ready to go. You can just talk about the city. Hey, you have one for out of town people. Hey, this is what I love about my city. You don't even need a script for that. You just start talking. What are my favorite neighborhoods? Just start talking about that.
I'm sorry, you guys. Daniel, I love that idea. That's amazing.
Well, glad to be able to help out.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello.
Hi. I wanted just to ask a follow-up question to the open. I guess you're saying like you would tell the people that come to the open house, like I can send you these reports, and that way you kind of connect with them. I was just curious, do you need to like be sure that they aren't working with somebody else first before we email them, or is it okay?
Yeah, well, on my open house sign-in sheet, I've got it to where now I'm kind of vague on it.
Uh-huh.
Like some people will on their open house sign-in sheet, they'll say, "Are you working with a realtor?" I'm like going, guess what they're going to say? They're always going to answer yes, right? So on my open house spreadsheet, I just put realtor. I just leave it at that, right? So then if they put their name down there, right? And that's what I'm asking for. I'm like, what's their name? If they know their name, they're going to put it down. If they just leave it blank, I'm like, all right, I'm going to pretend I don't. I mean, well, I'm not pretending. I don't know. They didn't put one down, so I'm going to contact them until they say no.
Thank you.
So, but yes, if they put a name down there and this is very specific, then I'm backing off. So in those situations, if they do have an agent, all I'm going to do is say, thanks for stopping by the open house. I'll send them my contact card with my face on it and all that fun stuff, right? And say, if you need anything, just let me know. Because I don't know if things will ever change for them, but I want them to have my contact information because I know that if they picked up a business card, that's going in the trash. So I'm going ahead and sending them my contact card. And then if they want to reach out, they can. But I kind of just leave it at that.
Thank you. Awesome.
Because I would want someone else to respect my clients if they go to open houses and they're working with me. So I try to respect them, but I'll send them my contact information. If they want to reach out to me, they can. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up?
You mentioned something about farming. Can you kind of sort of vaguely explain what that entails and how we go about farming a specific neighborhood?
Yeah. Um, so that's a loaded question because that's a whole section. But here I'll mention a couple things. First, on the farming part, you got to analyze the numbers. You can probably Google it and say how do I determine if there's enough turnover? Because if my neighborhood only sells one house every year, that's not enough homes and it's not worth it because farming is super expensive. So run the numbers on how many homes get sold versus how many homes there are total in the neighborhood. And there's a percentage, I don't remember what the percentage is. Um, you know, find out what that turnover rate is first. Then secondly is with farming, I would say smaller is better. So it's so expensive. Like, don't, if you're going to do it, I would rather be able to send 2 postcards a month to 25 houses than one postcard every 2 or 3 months, you know, to 300 homes, if that makes sense. So literally, if you say, okay, I just want to build the build a relationship with the 10 houses in front of me, 10 houses behind me, 10 houses to the right, 10 houses to the left. And then the third thing is you've got to layer it. So my neighborhood's not really good because there's no HOA. We don't do any block parties. The neighbors never get together. Like literally, we don't do anything. So I don't have a chance to layer it on top of anything. And so if you just do cards, it's a hard way to build relationships just through cards, right? And so you can build it through door knocking if you're comfortable with that, right? If there's a neighborhood moms group or whatever or Facebook group, then you can also build relationships. But you've got to have another 1 or 2 layers where you can build relationships on top of just the cards. And then I think the last thing is I would use a QR code on the card because card just doesn't have enough information. So QR code, you can throw a video on there, record yourself, introduce yourself, talk about whatever you want, but it gives them so much more information than just what's on the card. So farming in a 2-minute nutshell. It's not necessarily my expertise, so I don't know if I would be the best person to ask on that, but those are a couple just general thoughts about it.
I would like to say that just what you say, it did help me a lot because I'm new. I'm just 3 months in and been studying a lot. But then I was wondering about the farming. And now that you mentioned that, it kind of like gave me more content on it. And also what you mentioned about your neighborhood, because that's my neighborhood. It's like you're describing my neighborhood. Nobody gets around. There's no people outside. So now that this gives me another ideas to maybe do another neighborhood or go around and see what else I can do. But I think that you did great. Thank you.
Well, good, good. All right, so I'm going to be teaching the class next Tuesday on capturing more leads and growing your database, open house, and social media. So I crossed over a little bit on some of that stuff, but we'll go in more detail about some of the stuff. Some of it may be rehashing, but that's next Tuesday evening, same time, same place. So I'll look forward to meeting you guys again if you're able to join next Tuesday. And again, I put my contact information out there earlier. I'll drop it in the chat again if you missed it. But if you have any other questions, you feel free to reach out to me and just let me know how I can be a resource for you. So,
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank
am I
you.
teaching any AI classes soon? Yeah. I teach it at the Market Center. I haven't done anything that's a webinar, but I guess I could. I can talk to Alana and see if maybe we can do an AI class through this platform. So,
That
uh,
would be great.
yeah, that one's here's the thing, last thing on AI. You have to do AI. Like literally in the next 6 to 12 months, get your AI game going because it's going to be as necessary as this to do our business. So, all right. QR code. I'm not sure what you're asking for there, but you can shoot me a text and then we can go from there, whatever you're looking for. So, all right, cool. Well, have a good evening.
Thank you,
And
you as well.
Good evening. Thank
hopefully
you.
you guys have a great start to 2026. We are here. You guys are showing up. You guys are going to do great. So let's go.
Thank you.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.